The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining the call. I hope everyone can hear me. Little thumbs up. This is good timing, I guess, for hosting a digitization webinar, given the restrictions of level 2 and level 3 across New Zealand at the moment. So yeah, our timing's pretty good. But yeah, this is just going to run you through a couple of things. So how we here at First AML digitize the AML process, how secured signing digitize the signing of contracts, and how property brokers has been using both of us to really accelerate not only their ability to win more customers, but also the customer frustration that comes along with having to do manual paper documents. So I think we'll kick off. Yeah, so just a little bit of an agenda. So I'll run you through some stuff that I had to deal with at the bank when I used to work in finance and banking, and then Gail's going to take you through some of the stuff they do at secured signing, and then Kiri's going to run you through the property broker story. So just to kick off, this is a standard onboarding experience that a lot of people have to deal with nowadays. You probably realize this in your own business, the amount of time it takes back and forth, printing, signing, chasing, scanning documents, doing legal reviews, having to do manual AML checks, setting up an account, and then finally onboarding the customer can be quite painful. And some of the stories that I've had to deal with personally. So my background is in banking and finance, and if anyone's tried to open a bank account, they'll know how much trouble that can be. But yeah, also just how much pain is involved with opening a business account. So some of the stats that we had at the bank were it was on average 43 pages of documents to onboard a standard business account. And what that led was, we'd do $10 million pitches, try and win big businesses, and then put them through such a horrible onboarding process that by the time they were onboarded with us, they barely wanted to work with us. It's actually quite funny. I was just opening a bank account the other day. I've actually got this right here. It's 20 pages of account information for me to fill out manually, scan back. And I don't know about you guys, but I don't really have a scanner or printer at home. It's the new generation. We try and avoid keeping that stuff at the home if possible. But this was also leading to something called a negative NPS score. So I don't know how many people know what an NPS is, but it's becoming a widely recognized tool for tracking. It's what you call a net promoter score. So how likely are your clients able to refer you to their friends or their family? And this is a score we used to track at the bank, and it used to always come back as quite negative, the main part being onboarding. So if it's such a bad experience getting on board with your firm, it's very hard for clients then to refer you more business. And yeah, the average time it would take us to AML a company at a bank and onboard them properly was about 2 weeks, just because of all the paper, all the documents people didn't want to fill out.
Excellent, thank
you.
you.
I'll hand it over to Gail.
Hi everyone, so I'm Gail Thompson, the General Manager for Secured Signing. Thank you very much for joining us today, and thank you to Beyond and Kerry as well for participating in our joint webinar. So just sort of carrying on from what Beyond said, where we fit in, or Secured Signing fits in the onboarding process, is sort of when you're negotiating a contract or a proposal or an engagement letter or a listing authority, so where it's early on and you're agreeing to how you're going to engage together, so it's your agreement. Now, what we're seeing, or what's commonly the process that's used, we call it paper-based document signing, but you might think that it's not completely paper because you're still creating the agreement on using Microsoft Word probably, but then you're going to email it through to your customer. They're going to have to print it. They're going to have to sign it with a pen. Then they're going to have to find a scanner to scan it back to you. And then you have to download, rename it, save it somewhere, and the process goes on. So what that means for your customers is that it's manual for them. they have to find, as Beyond said, printer and scanner, which most of us who are at home now definitely don't have access to. It is not customer centric at all, because you're not thinking about their experience and the delay as well that's going to cause both your process in and onboarding them, but also for them in actually finding a way to get access to a printer, and they have to ask around and etc. So it's really is slow and not user friendly at all, the current process. So with people switching to a true digital document signing, what it means is that you're still creating your document digitally like you were doing before, but instead of your client or customers having to print it, etc., they can do it all online. So they'll receive an invitation from our system, they click on a button, they capture their signature, as you can see there, either on their phone or on the computer, and then it's done. It sends back to you, signed, and it's really quick for them, especially if customers are based in different countries, I would say in the past, but even households now, then not everybody is in the same bubble. So how are you going to get everybody to sign quickly? It is very secure. So in the next slide, I touch on digital signing technology and what makes it secure. And most of all, it's very customer focused. It's easy. Customers are going to want to come back and open more accounts with you or sign, list more properties with you. So it is a really good referral experience for them as well, because if it's easy to engage with you, they're going to come back for more. Awesome. So as I said, I'm just going to really briefly touch on our secure signing technology. I know some people in the webinar today are existing customers, so bear with me if some of this is already known to you. But pretty much we use what I would describe the most secure signing technology out there, which is the PKI, Public Key Infrastructure Technology, digital signatures. This has been around since the 70s, and historically it was used by government agencies and enterprise corporates because it's got quite a bit of infrastructure or hardware that goes on. The vision we had for secured signing is, how do we take the most secure technology of signing documents online and bring it to everybody through the cloud? And that's what we've done today. We've made it very easy and intuitive for both yourselves, so whether you're a lawyer or an agent or a finance company looking to send out documents for signing, but also for your customers and clients to do it too. You can choose how you want to engage with your customers, whether you want them to sign it remotely in their own time on their own device, whether you want to actually do it in person, bringing your iPad, or via a video meeting, which we launched about 2 months ago. So that's a video signing, which I have a slide on as well. With secured signing, not only can you collect signatures, but you can also collect information, which might be really important when you're coming to the AML and the KYC steps as well. We offer very sophisticated and robust signing workflow features, which lets you take any process, paper process, and really replicate it in digital, whether you've got sequential signing, whether you want to use high level of authentication like SMS or video, many more, review before signing, etc. So we have many robust features that you can use. And the most important thing is that you have evidence of who signed through our full audit log, which we deliver to our customers at the end of the process. And that goes as part of your evidence that makes it a legally binding contract as well. Yes. So as I said, video signing was something that we launched on the 1st of June, which is an all-in-one video conference and document signing tool. It lets you have a conversation with your customers, explaining to them what they're signing, answering any questions, making any disclaimers if you have to. And the whole thing is recorded, so you get both the audio, the visual recording, which is also really good for remote witnessing, which a lot of us are having to do right now. So this was our response to the current challenges around the world with COVID, but it's something that we could see that video was a tool that was going to become more and more popular to engage with customers anyway. So yes. Excellent. And I think this might be my last slide for me. So just a very brief overview of who we are. So we have customers spread right across the world, across different industries. So we work with recruitment and HR, finance companies, legal firms, government agencies, real estate, property management, and so on. So yeah, as our customers are spread right across the world, but we are a Kiwi-owned company. Our head office is in Auckland, so we are all working from home, and we have, signed millions of documents have been signed through our platform in the last 10 years, which is how long we've been around, and we differentiate ourselves in the features and security that we provide. Hence, secured signing is in our name. So yeah, thank you.
Awesome. Just to kick off, just a bit about First AML. So we're a regulation technology business, and we were born out of the frustration of having to do AML ourselves. So first-hand experience having to do this. We're a technology business, and obviously we're focused on compliance because compliance is what we do. But really, I see ourselves as a customer experience business. And what that means is we focus on making the job as easy as possible for your firms to do AML and as easy as possible on your end customers to be able to actually provide that information. Now, that's super important to us, and we feel this really strongly. If anyone has worked in sales, you know what you need to do to get a sale is to remove as many barriers from your potential customer as possible to allow them to sign up. And we believe First AML helps you do that a lot, especially for the AML side of that. Yeah, we work with over 200 reporting entities now across New Zealand and Australia, and they range from a various amount of different industries. So I guess when we think about AML and KYC, this is what the process looks like today. So, and many people, you might have already been through it, but with the legal and accounting sectors and the real estate sector having to enter this AML framework in the last couple of years, what that's meant is the amount of AML has increased sharply. And all of these different service providers ask for AML in a slightly different way, and they're all asking for the same information. Some may use some digital tools, some may use paper-based forms, others you may not even do it at all, and they're in trouble, but we won't focus on them. But this is a really frustrating experience for anyone who is part of a company, a trust, or even as an individual, the amount of time this is taking and the amount of repetition that is happening. So I guess, how does First AML work? Well, we sit in between all of these functions. So we have customers in all different segments and all different areas of New Zealand and Australia. And what this means is the companies and trusts getting AML verified via First AML, they come into our ecosystem of pre-verified entities, companies, and trusts. And that allows us to not only get them in there really quickly using smart digital technology, which we've developed in-house, but also be able to pass that information on to a number of different service providers. And if you can think of what that means for the speed to onboard, if you recall my earlier example, it takes about 2 weeks for a bank to onboard a simple company. What happens when that data is already held with us and we use complex user consent to get the approvals through to be able to pass that information? You can onboard your client almost instantaneously. Now, this is a world first. No one else is doing this. And it's causing us to be able to really deliver for our customers and for them to be able to get through the onboarding process faster than ever before. So I guess a bit about our technology. So we use, a very wide range of technology that we've built in-house. But some of the easiest stuff is we get people to onboard directly on their mobile phones. So they get sent a link which they can fill out. They have to take a picture of their face. They take a picture of their ID document, and that's all checked under government data sources. So what that means is you don't need to be sitting in front of your customer to be able to AML verify them. You don't need certified copies of paper documents. They can all do that on their mobile phone. Also, all of that information then comes into our secure platform. It's encrypted at rest and in transit. And what that means is customer data, passport information, like people's basically their identity, is being captured and moved into a secure platform. It's not being sent via emails. It's not being scanned and left in somebody's printer. It all comes through our platform. And we also have a team of analysts here that sit in Auckland that help with those more complex structures. So we do the whole end-to-end process. All of that information is then captured within our platform. Yeah, and we've got a number of clients in various different industries. This shows our network effect really taking part in the commercial real estate space. So what this means is, if someone's going and doing a general agency, so they want to lease their property, they usually appoint 3 or 4 commercial agencies to do it. Now, if you're in the first AML network, what that means is you only have to go through AML once. Now, if you can imagine some of the other commercial real estate companies that are not in our network, they have to do paper-based AML or another way of doing AML. It's likely that they won't win as much business because it's harder. It's harder for them to onboard clients than the commercial agencies within our network. So that really speeds up and provides a competitive advantage for our clients. I'll hand it over to Kerry.
Cool, thanks, Leon. Okay, so I just wanted to give a bit of background on Property Brokers in case you're not familiar with us. So the company was founded by Tim Morland about 34 years ago. And today we've got, he's chairman of the business, and we've also got Guy, his son, and Tony working within the business as well. We are the largest provincial real estate company privately owned in New Zealand, with currently over 75 branches and 750 people across the company. And we provide a full service in real estate. So we've got residential right through to property management, commercial, building compliance. And we have a big passion for community and the people that we deal with, and we'd like to build strong relationships. So if we can just go to the next one, thanks. Okay, so we'll just take you through what our old process was. When I first joined Property Brokers about 9 years ago, I was also joining the industry for the first time. And one of the things I did want to do was to bring in digital signatures because it had been around for a while, but the industry wasn't really ready for it and the business wasn't. So we went ahead and I actually had been brought on board to help with the new CRM system and get that rolled out. So we proceeded down that path and went through all of getting that sorted and up and running. And then about a couple of years ago, we came across secured signing. And that was also when AML was roughly introduced to the industry as well. So we went down the path of setting up digital signatures and focusing on our listing forms to start with. And the old process that we were replacing was a duplicated document that was about, I don't know, 10 pages long, I guess, with a big folder, and was expensive to print, and they'd be used more than once for one client, and it passed through so many different hands, and then it had to go from one client to the next client. The agents are driving around getting the signatures, and then it would come back into the office. They'd have to leave a copy of the signed document with the client, and then they'd have to bring a copy of that back to the administrator, who would then manually spend their time typing everything into our CRM system, which then had to send a copy back to the agent, who would then check that their manual work had been entered correctly. And it just was an ongoing process that was time consuming and was costing everybody time and money. With my background in accounting and IT, I'm very big on security and systems, and also having a really good audit trail. So when we came across secured signing, these ticked all the boxes for us as a good partner to join up with. You can just go to the next one. Okay, so with the new process, we're not long ago recently released this, I guess you could say. We've had a few challenges this year with changes in compliance, and we did start working on this last year. We did roll it out earlier this year, and then once COVID hit, I think there was more of an uptake from our agents. We do have an older age group in the industry that and within our business, so that is one of our challenges. But as you can see here, there's two pathways, I guess, with the new process. There is a link in our CRM system for the agent, so it's all fully integrated. So, well, as far as the process for appraisal and then being in the CRM system, then it flows on into the a fillable PDF form. And there's two channels really. I guess if there's no changes to be made, then the client just signs it, and then that flows on then to the next client if there is one, and we can send it to up to 3 different parties, and then it flows back into the agent and they sign it. And then if the other channel is if the client, once they review it, they've got changes, they can send those back to the agent, and the agent will update the changes, and then out it'll go again. Both paths allow the client to send it through to a solicitor or any other legal representative that they want to have a look at the document. That'll then come back in and it'll go through the signing process. Very clean and very easy for all parties to use. One of the other important parts to our business and to the agents is the face-to-face contact with the client, and they were concerned that they would lose this with the new digital process. But one of the benefits of using secured signing is that you can do this face-to-face, and that is our best practice that the agents can do that. And of course, the benefit then is that if the client isn't there, then of course they can send it remotely, and it's an easy process. And I'm really keen to try out the new video option that you've got there. I might look into that in the next week or so, I think.
Sounds good.
So the final steps for us that are currently being worked on is a full integration back into our CRM system, so that once the document's been signed by all parties, the fields in that document will be automatically uploaded into the CRM, which means that the administrator doesn't have to spend any time manually entering in the information. The other part of that is the scanning and the attachments and the sending everything to everybody and all parties. So part of that integration back into the CRM system, the attachment will automatically be there. So all of that is removed. And the other part of that is we will be doing a bit of an integration there with the first AML process and bringing that in line with what we're currently doing. Next slide, please. Cool. So just a few facts and figures here, and some challenges. I think I mentioned earlier the change adoption is a bit of a challenge, but we are getting more and more people on board with it, and the new lockdown that we're currently in, I'm sure that's going to help even further. And we have had some delays with compliance changes that affected and it is a live document, it's forever changing, but that's just part of what you have to deal with. We did work out that this is going to save us annually at least one administrator's cost, but we worked out the volume of transactions that are put through, and based on an average time that is the administrator takes to enter it in. There is an unknown cost saving, and that's the time that the agents use to handle all the paperwork backwards and forwards with the clients. Of course, there's still going to be some interaction there and some travel involved with to see the client, but of course there's going to be a huge saving there as well across the board. Just unknown because it's all different for each agent. And then the actual document itself, this is probably our biggest cost saving. You can imagine looking at that screenshot up there. There were like 10 pages. When I first started, it was triplicate. We got down to duplicate. And yeah, the cost involved in printing those was huge. So comparing that to the cost of secured signing, man, we're happy to be saving all this. Obviously in COVID too, it's a good expense to be saving on. And that's it from me.
Awesome, thanks for that, Kiri. It's really good to see that that quantified, and in terms of numbers. I think what a lot of people struggle with is quantifying how much digital solutions actually save them, in terms of actual dollar figures, but also that time. The time it takes cannot be underestimated when you can automate a lot of these processes and use digital solutions, because time is valuable. I mean, time. Especially in real estate, I guess time is money, right? You could be chasing more listings. You could be doing more business, especially when you think of, hey, like if it's a competitive listing, hey, can we get them to sign digitally? Hey, can we get them their AML done in minutes rather than days? That gives a real powerful competitive advantage for vendors to go with you, I guess.
Yeah, oh, definitely. And, you know, there's one thing agents don't like, and that's paperwork.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're just gonna open it up to questions, guys. So if you've got a question, please just post it in there, and I will read them out for whoever needs to sign. In terms of we've got one question here. And this is for you, I guess. So Gal, do customers need to fill out the same number of forms along with the digital signature?
I'm not sure I quite understand the question, to be honest, but you can design, you know, if you have documents that don't require signing, you can add them as attachments. So not necessarily all of your documents have to be signed, but those that are attached are also included in the workflow, so you've got a track record of that as well. Yeah, so it's very customizable for you.
That's awesome. Yeah, does in terms of any other questions, I've got another one here for you, Gal.
Yeah.
Do you get a recording of the video signing session?
Yes, you do. So the way that it works is that we actually embed a link to the video within the document that is then digitally signed and sealed. So the link to the video cannot be altered without actually invalidating the signature and therefore the document. So that's the unique point for us. So if you're doing like a Zoom session, it's separate to the document signing process, whereas we link the two in one. And then when you click on that link, it is password protected, but it brings up the recording of the session. So yes, you can do the
awesome.
recording.
Kira, you talked about a bit about tech adoption being difficult for some agents. Can you expand on that a bit? How do you get, I guess, make people adopt some of these new processes?
Well, one thing I've learned, to be honest, you can't make anyone do anything.
Yeah.
So we've kind of, I guess, adopted an approach from management, and you know, with the encouragement of management. And I guess we also have an approach where we try to work with the willing. That's worked well for us, I guess. And you get one or two people interested in using it, then the others will follow. That's kind of what we've found. And for me too, you know, people say about age, but it's not age, you know, it's attitude. And it doesn't matter what it is. They either want to learn or they don't want to learn. It doesn't matter who they are. So,
yeah, totally.
Yeah, absolutely. I must say one of our oldest customers and that's been with us the longest, he's a lawyer and he has taken to technology like no one I've ever seen before, to be honest. So totally agree. It's mindset and attitude and benefits there.
Yeah, that's so true. I always tell the story about when I started training with property brokers, and I had an older guy who would be late 70s. He always used to fall asleep in the front of my training sessions, and I would say, and I was like, oh no, I lost him.
Yeah.
But every session he'd come up with 5 good questions, and he became one of my more than happy to answer his phone calls outside of work or whatever, because he had good questions and he was learning the system.
Yeah.
Totally. And I guess that's one of the key things. It's that implementation and training that's so important across organizations. We see it all the time here at First AML when we're onboarding clients. We have a pretty I don't want to say intense, but quite an extensive onboarding process, and we like to try and hold people's hand through the process, because it is a big change for how a business operates. But once people start seeing the benefits and how easy it is, I think that adoption definitely happens. We just got a question here for you, Gal. Does secured signing integrate with Infinity Law?
Good question. You're not the first to ask it. Many others have too. We don't currently integrate with Infinity Law, but we are working on it. So yeah, there is definitely demand there. We do have a lot of customers that use Infinity Law and us side by side at the moment. So yeah, not an existing integration, but on our roadmap.
We've just got another question for you here, Kerry. Can you confirm that the process works if there are any changes required to the document? Is it done electronically?
Yes, it is done electronically. Yeah.
Awesome. So people can make changes and then send them back for approval. And
us property brokers as the customer of secured signing, we can choose what we want to have as required fields for the agent, and then what the customer has to complete. And then if there's an area that the client can't change themselves, then it can be sent back to the agent, and the agent can update and resend it out. But the client, the choices are optional for client or agent as to what they can complete. Hopefully that answers the question.
Totally. Yeah, just another question for you, Gal. How do you know if people on the video are the people they say they are? Do you do a biometric match first, or how do you confirm that they are the right people?
Yeah. So we don't have, part of the video session is not necessarily so much with identifying them biometrically. Hopefully I said that right. That's what you would use First AML for. So you would have a process for that, and then
Great answer.
yeah. You know that, no, I'm joking. Yeah, and for us, it's more just capturing, just like this. You can see Beon. This is what Beon looks like, what I look like, what Kerry looks like, and there's a record of that. So it's not so much identifying them through a biometric method, rather than who attended the session, who watched the signing, who participated in the signing, at what time, date, etc. So it's more of that information that we capture in the audit trail. Yeah.
Totally, and I guess witness, like witnessing a signature is basically the same thing, right? And that's why, I mean, if you send a document out just manually, confirming who signs it's always a bit hard anyway. So that makes a lot of sense.
No, a lawyer would say that digital is much more secure than paper signing, especially for witnessing, because you can be anyone. So
yeah, exactly. Gail, just another question for you here. Is there a size limit for a document that you can get signed?
I'm going to say no, but if a 300 meg plus document, then it probably slow down the experience. But we don't have, we have sort of default settings, which is about 20 meg per document. But if you have large documents, which government customers definitely do, Kerry, I don't think your document, would that be bigger than 20 meg? I don't think.
Ooh, no, I don't believe it is.
So very large documents can still be sent through our system.
I haven't had any issues raised because of the size of it, no.
Yeah. Cool.
Totally. Does anyone else have any questions? Or I think that was about it.
Yeah.
I guess someone had asked. Someone actually sent me a message, just asking a bit more about where are our servers based. So that's a really good question. In the age of cloud computing, it's actually a very, very interesting question. So our servers are based in Sydney, and we use AWS for our cloud storage platform. But the reason I think that question is quite important is because with all this cloud-based storage, it's important to know where your customer information is held. So, for example, jurisdictions like the United States have the Patriot Act, which means they can basically penetrate through any sort of secure server and take any information that they really want. So it's this question comes up a lot when we deal with our sort of top end of town clients around where their data is stored and where it's securely kept. We also do regular penetration testing of our platform. So that's when we pay a company who specializes in hacking into platforms to basically try and hack our servers. Last result was essentially an A+, which is great. But this stuff is very, very important when considering privacy. The amount of data breaches we're seeing is only increasing. There was another one a couple of weeks ago, unsecured AWS bucket. Next thing you know, 20,000 people's IDs readily available. That was a firm out of Wellington. So it's really, really important that you understand where your data is kept and how it's kept, because you don't want your firm to experience a data breach, especially with PII information, those personal information records, super, super sensitive.
Excellent. I have a question for you, Beon. With because I know your service offers different levels of identification. If you were, a lot of our customers are finance companies, and it needs to be done on the go quickly. Like, can you talk us through what that experience would be like for if you're a borrower, you're ready to, sign your loan agreement?
Yeah, absolutely. So, well, you'd use secured signing for the loan agreement, obviously, and then if they need to get AML verified, and if it's just borrowing under an individual's name, you can quickly log into our platform, enter their email address or phone number, and it will ping them a request to complete AML. So this can be done on their mobile phone. Takes about a minute and a half. And it's super easy to use, and you can basically AML verify anyone on the move if they've got their driver's license or passport handy. So it's a really easy process, works really well for individuals, works really well for trusts, companies, and any sort of complex structure. So yeah, exactly. I don't know, nice and easy.
Yeah, no, I know that comes up a lot. Our customers asking how do we AML individuals quickly?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's super important to do this quickly because you want to, again, reduce the barriers to people signing up. If you can reduce the barriers to people signing up, you'll win more business. If you can get your net promoter score to be positive, people will refer you more business. It's all science and it's all in the math.
Very good.
Awesome. I think that's about it, guys. Unless there's any other questions, but thanks everyone for joining the call, and I guess we'll be doing more and more webinars as we move into level 3 and level 2 across the country, and yeah, social distancing and all that fun stuff. Yeah, if anyone's got any questions about secured signing or first AML, please feel free to reach out. You can go to the website, book a demo. It's really easy. I'm sure Kerry is happy to field any other questions that anyone may have. Property Brokers is a fantastic regional real estate company, very dominant in the regions, and that's because they run a slick operation. It allows them to scale better. So that's awesome from them.
Absolutely.
Thanks for your time, guys.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Kerry.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Yes. Bye.
Yeah.